New MrBeast allegations have dropped yet again. So last time on the MrBeast saga, we talked about how Rosanna and Dogpack were alleging that MrBeast was faking parts of his charity work by using AI to remove buildings and giving the impression that he built an entire hospital when he actually did not. We also touched a bit on his shady crypto past, but today we have a ton of updates, including MrBeast getting exposed in a massive document with allegedly, according to the document, ties to over 50 crypto wallets and a history of misleading investors and engaging in potential pump and dump schemes with massive profits netted to MrBeast. MrBeast has also finally responded with an update for the investigation into his own company. But let's start with the document. Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers made a great video going through some of the main details, which we'll be checking out. These are the people who put together the investigation. As always, I encourage you to check out the full thing in the description below and form your own conclusions. Okay, so here we have the intro, MrBeast investigation. MrBeast's involvement in cryptocurrency has come under fire, with YouTubers like Rosanna and Dogpack touching on the subject. However, their investigations only skimmed the surface of MrBeast's crypto activities. A team of researchers has since conducted a more detailed analysis, uncovering connections to over 50 cryptocurrency wallets linked to MrBeast. Their findings suggest a long history of insider trading, misleading investors, and using his influence to promote tokens, only to later dump them on the market. This document delves into the various tokens associated with these allegations and the insider trading claims, starting with identifying the wallets tied to MrBeast. So here's Mutahar explaining how the whole thing works. Basically, he starts by assessing if one of the wallets indeed belongs to MrBeast.
So this is on a website known as Arkham Intelligence, no relation to Batman, by the way. But of course, as you can see over here, this is a wallet that allegedly belongs to MrBeast. So this is also publicly known as a Wu-Tang Clan. Also, this would be the actual account right over here. So OX9, E67, and as you can see, there is a whole bunch of money moving in and out amongst various different exchanges and through various different projects. So Punk 939 bought for 50 Ethereum. So again, this was bought by OX9E67, and of course, in this screenshot, MrBeast comes in and says, I bought this one. Unfortunately, I did not find a MrBeast comment, so it probably either got deleted or maybe it unfortunately didn't exist. I actually don't think Connor would lie about it. I don't think he has a reason to. I think the odds of this account, not being MrBeast are pretty low. So I would think that if this was fake, MrBeast or somebody on his team would come out and be like, no, this is bullshit. It's totally not us. It's nonsense, which I haven't seen so far.
Okay, so the investigation hinges on the fact if these wallets are actually connected to MrBeast. Some people believe it's very likely that it's MrBeast's wallet, but I'm not too much into crypto, so I can't confirm that 100%. But keeping that in mind, let's continue. So next he talks about the clip we covered in a previous video where MrBeast and Logan Paul are on a podcast openly talking about how Gary Vaynerchuk asked a bunch of super rich billionaires and millionaires and influencers to buy a certain CryptoPunk, apparently being very confident it was a good investment, thus pumping the price up essentially.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys have probably seen on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of crypto punks at the same time, right?
Yep.
When Gary pulled us in that call.
Yep. Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. Yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
What the?
You gotta keep the story going. So there's like all these very successful people in this call, and Gary's just like, everyone shut the up. Here's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna do it right now. You're all gonna buy a bunch of CryptoPunks. I was just so pulled by his conviction.
Yeah.
So Gary got a bunch of his rich friends to get into a call and say, hey guys, this one NFT, you gotta fucking buy it. You just gotta buy it. You gotta get it. And obviously, when these guys come together and purchase several of these CryptoPunks, obviously the prices end up going up. If you look at CryptoPunks right now, based on where they were back, in 2021, 2022, it went up all the way from here, and it just kept slipping because there's nothing to do with these projects. There's nothing to gain. You just buy a receipt on the blockchain and you sit down holding your hands doing nothing. They're all pretty much starting to sell quietly around 2023, 2024 with actual declines, not in their sales volumes, but also just in their actual value as well. But that's really what happens with these projects. They don't really go anywhere. A bunch of influencers hype them up. They try to get people into them, and when they're at peak mania in sales or value, then they quietly get shuffled out of the inventory.
Okay, so we talked about how that's super shady, obviously, and all the comments on that video, which is still up, by the way, were accusing them of market manipulation because that's exactly what it sounded like. But now we got to get to some of the alleged evidence of MrBeast making millions and millions of dollars through his crypto investments, like turning 100K into $11 million. So one of these tokens was called Superverse, formerly Superfarm, and basically it promised a lot of things, right? Similar to Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo, but obviously it failed to deliver on most of the promises and just ended up making a huge bag for MrBeast.
So at this moment in time, one of the biggest dumps that I've ever seen in history for YouTube, which is quite a lot, ended up actually being showcased. One of the ways they went down into this project was discussing something known as Superverse or Superfarm, which is actually the wildest part of the story. MrBeast allegedly profited from an investment of $100,000 to $11.4 million on this, okay? It's insane. So Superverse was a cryptocurrency token that had many promises. From making an NFT marketplace to integrating with games to creating a gaming economy, promises to deliver games such as Pizza Heroes and Imposters, two games that were stuck endlessly in development. And I wonder if they actually did end up getting a full release. So unless this is the game right over here, Pizza Heroes, I don't actually think this game ever ended up releasing. The closest it appears to be might just be closed beta. Not just MrBeast, but also KSI, Lazarbeam, who had also pushed this to their fans as well. So on-chain activity shows profits upwards of 10 million for MrBeast, KSI, and Lazarbeam.
Okay, we got the usual suspicious names of MrBeast and KSI, but what a curveball. We got Lazarbeam in there as well. Another massively popular YouTuber being spotted where you really don't want to be spotted. But anyways, as someone who's been investing for several years, those are some ungodly returns. It's very unlikely, in my opinion, unless something very fishy is going on, because even the best investors ever can barely match up to the standard of the S&P 500, which is like a 10% annual return, right? And if those numbers are even somewhat correct, like 100,000 to 11 million, what is that, a 10,000% increase on your investment? That's very interesting to say the least. That is definitely some Logan Paul level activity. Take that as you will. Also, we'll be waiting for CoffeeZilla's video to hopefully do a more deep dive on the situation. Now, after this, the investigation talks about how this super token had a 50 times increase, right? And investors obviously got pretty excited. Like if you got a 50 time increase on your investment, that would be like a massive profit. Only problem is some of these investors allegedly got suddenly refunded. So interesting how nobody else could take part in the success of the token. So this is like me investing in Nvidia, right? And waiting for 5 years with, minimal returns or whatever. And then suddenly it skyrockets with something like AI taking over, right? And conveniently, I just get refunded at that point where I was supposed to make a massive profit. So I don't know, very weird if true.
I'm one of the pre-sale investors who got refunded after many communications attempt. I was giving some rubbish reasons and told that regardless, our SAFT was not signed by them. And apparently they did the same for recent whitelist. So that's more of a discussion that when they were doing a pre-sale initial coin offering, which was pretty much open to public investors, on launch, while Super increased 50 times and their price jumped to $1 each, public investors who thought they actually were participating in the game had seen their refunds through legal loopholes, which again is very shady, very unethical to see. So while public pre-sale investors were refunded their money, investors like MrBeast and KSI actually reaped the rewards of that investment and apparently allegedly dumped those tokens on the followers that they had. So you can see in this entire screenshot, you can see MrBeast over here. We can do the 100K. Thing is, you got Lazarbeam set, no problem. So that is likely towards that super pre-sale, which is where that screenshot comes from. This guy, if this is all true, and allegedly it's all true, this would make MrBeast actually somehow more fucking greedy than Logan Paul. This would actually make him the chief successful person, in terms of profiting out of any crypto project at all. So you can see actual posts that haven't been deleted yet where Elio trades as, there's a gem sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices. MrBeast like, super? Another tweet that ended up getting deleted by the post author has apparently Lazarbeam going, oh my god, MrBeast going, oh my god, with their eyes popped out, which apparently was from Superfarm DAO, which moved to Superverse. Even KSI, 2 NFT coins I'm very bullish on. Super, ERN, any other NFT I should look at.
Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of these guys, they seem to have made a lot of tweets which sort of implicates them in these alleged scams or whatever. But this is absolutely pathetic if true, because, you know, we already know MrBeast has all the money in the world, super wealthy guy. And, you know, you might say this is 2021. Obviously, it wasn't pulling in the as crazy numbers back then. But even in 2021, he was not the average man on the street, okay? He was still a massive YouTuber pulling in massive views. There is no need to engage in this sort of shady behavior, right? Now, you got to be really careful when reporting this stuff, because the last person that called out a YouTuber for alleged crypto scams actually got sued. Obviously, we all remember Logan Paul graciously suing CoffeeZilla after himself thanking him for the investigation on video and saying he's a good journalist and good reporter and good investigator. So I wonder if MrBeast will also be engaging in trying to silence people regarding this, but my guess is that he'd probably want to keep it under wraps as much as possible, because this is unlike a lot of the other allegations which can be somewhat disproved, right? Now, according to the investigation, it turns out MrBeast was actually a little more shrewd in how he handled his crypto dealings by actually distributing his activity among several wallets and being sort of covert about it.
Now, according to this, the wallet receives an initial batch of 1 million of those super tokens, right? So they get 1 million of these tokens into the main OX9E6 wallet. Here, it's all done very intelligently, where the wallet then distributes to side wallets. So for instance, one of the side wallets that was identified allegedly with OX4F7B6. So that wallet basically farmed small increments over a period between March to June 2021. So MrBeast keeps getting this supply of super, which he then distributes to numerous wallets, okay? The main account that was receiving it was apparently this Bobby Digital wallet, OX2CO7. So you can just see money outpouring into these various accounts right here. So what's interesting is once they were siphoned to these smaller accounts, allegedly, and if you're looking at it, you're looking at 5.82 million, 3.3 million, 249,000, 60,000. At that point, these amounts were then transferred out and actually exchanged. So in one case, they went to Uniswap over here, which again, they were swapping, and it ended up totaling out, according to this Arkham trace, $9.2 million dollars. That is actually the craziest return on investment I've ever seen by putting up this shield token to your audience.
Okay, I gotta defend MrBeast here. I mean, he's just really good at business. He's Saul Goodman level of business, you know? Casually generates 10,000% returns. I feel like we're all just too stupid to understand. I mean, hypothetically, right? If he's actually that good, with all the money he has at the moment, right? You know, nearing like $1 billion or whatever, like several hundred million. If he pulls up with another one of these tokens and uses his immense, amazing business acumen to get a 10,000% return, he could potentially be a quadrillionaire. He could have more money than the entirety of the United States of America. The absolute genius. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic for anyone who didn't get that. Listen, a lot of people were asking why MrBeast, a guy with a pretty much squeaky clean reputation up until a couple months ago, why would a guy like that associate with Logan Paul and KSI, two people who have been called out in the past for alleged crypto scams, right? And suddenly, everything is clicking. You know, of course he would have no problem associating with them because he seems to be an enthusiastic participant in this type of business ventures, all right? And listen, I don't know the entire ins and outs of crypto wallets and everything like that, but I don't think you need 50. I mean, in what scenario would you need over 50 crypto wallets? Maybe I'm completely ignorant. Somebody can educate me in the comments. But anyways, then we go over some of the proof that MrBeast only invested $100K in this project.
And even an investigation by Soma XBT, who actually said that, you know, MrBeast allegedly made $10 million by backing low cap IDO crypto tokens promoted by influencers like Lark Davis, Crypto Banter, KSI. He also said, yes, this is based on that wallet that we're talking about on Arkham Intelligence. And of course, the proof that he invested only $100K into Superfarm DAO, a screenshot from Leo Trade's live stream. He accidentally revealed MrBeast, if we can do the 100K, thing is yada yada. But this is actually the investment from MrBeast going in to this OX4079, right? And of course, you can see 100 0.88K.
Okay, so fortunately, we had these crypto experts and investigators go into these situations and look at all these wallets and conclude that this is exactly what's happening here. Now, will MrBeast actually be criminally charged for all this stuff? That remains to be seen. From what I understand, what charge would fall under this? It would probably be something like financial fraud or potentially getting sued by one of the investors, right? If this whole investigation is true. But as we know from the past, that seems to be a long shot since Logan and KSI are still walking around carefree. But as for reputation hits, that is an absolutely massive one. I guess there could be some weird way to justify all of this, like, oh, I was just moving it around from my wallet to wallet and, you know, I really believed in the project, or something like, oh, it just happened to drop 99% or something like that.
When tabulating up every single wallet address and the liquidity that ends up being extracted, it ended up coming around to $11.4 million. So it ended up being around $23 million of cash, right? This is just like a chunk of it.
I mean, yeah, that's an insane amount of money. Meanwhile, MrBeast goes on podcasts and everywhere else and says that I invest 100% of my money back into my videos, into charity work, into stuff like that. I don't keep anything for myself. I'm actually broke. I'm actually poor. Constantly reiterating this point to his audience. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, making $20 million here. The facade of MrBeast being this kind-hearted, godlike figure who is fixing the world has completely crumbled and taken an absolute 180 at this point. Anyways, this document goes into a lot more of MrBeast's shady crypto investments, but here's another one called Eternity Chain.
So he receives a large batch of these tokens from the actual pre-sale going into his accounts. He then accumulates actually more supply. So he transfers half of these tokens to a wallet known as OX2 EB7 allegedly. Then transfers the remaining supply to another wallet, allegedly known as OX9B006. So immediately after, shortly after, these wallets start dumping that supply all the way into Uniswap for a grand amount of $3.7 million. So yeah, this is one of those things where immediately the man jumps onto a project, promotes it, but it turns out that that project is being sold.
Another convenient skill issue. Regular investors really need to catch up. You know, the rest of us, when we invest $100, we are grateful if we get 110 by the end of the year, right? That would be a good investment. You get a 10% return on your investment. Meanwhile, MrBeast out here is just, he's playing on a different level. I guess we just need to catch up. But I think you guys get the point now. There's obviously tons of more stuff. Please check out the document. And if you like what you see, obviously support the investigators and stuff. But the worst part about all of this, right? It's not even them making tons of money. Obviously, I don't care about that, right? They're obviously making tons of money through all of their businesses. It's the fact that this money is coming directly from their fans who trusted them, who believed in them, who actually put their hard-earned money into these projects and then just get absolutely destroyed. It might be like some random 9-to-5 guy who deposited a couple $1,000s hoping to make a better return, and I imagine they lost a ton of money because, you know, they're not omega rich like these people. Anyways, another one we'll talk about is XCAD. You might have actually heard of this one.
Now, XCAD was apparently a shady token with an individual named JMX, who also was implicated in a scam that I covered alongside CoffeeZilla known as Save the Kids. KSI would go out and just talk and say, hey guys, King XCAD, I'm laughing at you noobs, GG get wrecked, FOMO Central.
You know what? I got a glow in your motherfucking faces. No, hold on. You see that, motherfuckers? You see that? You see what the fucking line is?
KSI might actually go down as one of the stupidest people in human history. Like, people will study this guy in history books. Why would you be doing this on video? I mean, obviously we know why. I mean, he's hyping it up. He's trying to pump it up. But I can't believe these guys have millions and millions of kids who actually trust in them, who look up to them as idols, as people they want to be in the future. It's shameful. If they had any shred of decency, they'd get down on their knees and beg for forgiveness from their fans, because this is plain evil, dude.
Okay, so KSI's like hyping it up like, boys, we doing it. And it's not just here. He goes on to the Sidemen podcast and pretty much drags the other people into this situation as well, too.
You've been given 500 grand in cash. What do you buy? Don't you're gonna say crypto, but I'm gonna say what you have to buy something with it. What are you buying with the 500 grand cash?
Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Tax free. Tax free.
Something
XCAD.
tangible. Something tangible.
I'm down. I'll back it.
XCAD.
Now, this is where I like to thank the investigator. Zach is a great investigator and somebody you should absolutely follow, who showcased how KSI sold 850,000 of his tokens hours after saying that to his large audience, right? So all of a sudden, my XCAD bag is looking juicy. Hodl gang, writes KSI Crypto. And if you look at KSI, yeah, I don't think he's holding, dog. He's throwing all that shit into Uniswap, XCAD, to USD, it seems, in the thousands. So yeah, he proceeded to allegedly dump $850,000 over the following days from his actual wallet address.
Okay, so as I mentioned in the past, KSI was actually exposed by CoffeeZilla, and his response to the situation was essentially, I'm just stupid, guys. I purposely tweeted the exact opposite of what I was doing because I automatically expected my audience to not believe me and do the exact opposite of what I'm saying, right? Which will not pass in a court of law, obviously. That is the dumbest defense on planet Earth. But I'm sure KSI glizzy gobblers will be there in the comment section protecting their queen over here. Anyways, that was the crypto stuff. Let's move on to MrBeast's response to the Ava Tyson situation and the registered offenders being hired and his own internal company investigation. So MrBeast has responded to his tweet from several months ago where he is apologizing for the Ava Tyson thing. And why would you reply to month-old tweets? The only reason is you don't want it to get as much attention by tweeting it out anew. Like, you make meme Instagram videos about Lunchly, but you won't post this sort of stuff on Instagram or on a new tweet or on YouTube or something where it might get a bigger reception, right? A 3-month investigation into allegations regarding my company has concluded. The law firm or investigators reviewed millions of documents and messages and conducted 39 interviews. I was asked to refrain from making public statements to enable a detailed and unbiased investigation. Below are their conclusions. Now keep in mind, this is a company that MrBeast himself hired to investigate himself. All right, and it's called a third-party investigation. I imagine it's like standard procedure or whatever, but I find the whole thing very dodgy. November 1st, internal investigation, key findings and conclusions. Dear board of directors, as you know, MrBeast LLC engaged Quinn Emanuel to conduct an internal investigation into specific allegations made publicly, incidents reported internally, and issues raised by employees in interviews, including with respect to current and former employee personnel and the company's wide place, environment, and culture. At your direction, Quinn Emanuel immediately launched a comprehensive investigation, which is now concluded. As an initial matter to protect the investigation's integrity, Quinn Emanuel requested that a former employee, Dawson French, cease making public allegations against the company, as those were the topic of an ongoing investigation. Quinn Emanuel conducted 39 interviews of current and former employees. Over 4.5 million documents collected from mobile phones, emails, telegrams, Discord, WhatsApp were processed and reviewed. The investigation produced the following significant findings. Allegations of SA misconduct, grooming, etc. Between company employees and minors are without basis. The allegations were soundly rejected, including by alleged victims. Allegations of the company knowingly employing individuals and proclivities of histories towards illegal or questionable legal conduct are similarly without basis. The allegations were uniformly rejected. Several isolated instances of workplace harassment were identified. Company was informed and took swift action to address the incidents and disciplining and letting go of complicated individuals. As you're well aware, the company is going exceedingly from a YouTube startup comprised of a group of talented young individuals to a much larger entity. Why are you glazing them in a lawyer investigation? It's not uncommon. The policies are essentially in a mature company. The policies would lag behind commercial success. This appears to have been the case. Allowed for inappropriate conduct. It's clear the company is committed to remedying the historical issues, creating a mature culture. Company is already implemented in the process of implementing changes. These include sending a clear message regarding tone at the top, hiring a new CEO, CPO, all this, implementing mandatory corporate training, developing new policies, establish anonymous reporting, swiftly terminating individuals who violated company policy. This officially concludes the investigation. My God, my voice is gone. Oh my God. We've investigated ourselves and found ourselves innocent. Now you sound like the US government. Now, man, you're guilty on some weird shit. So basically, people are not buying it. In my opinion, I'm not buying it either. We still had the registered offender in the video, targeted kids. Apparently, he had no clue. We had Chris Tyson, no clue again, apparently, conveniently, despite the Discord evidence. We had the lotteries being deleted off the internet. Why did you delete them if you did nothing wrong? Not talking about the details of anything. We had the Beast Game situation. There's another lawsuit happening there. People getting injured left and right. So So I don't know, take that as you will. An individual from Mission Flight also alleged that MrBeast did not pay for the eye surgeries in his viral video. After 8 months, MrBeast has finally paid out the roughly 120 grand to the team for the surgeries. Allegedly, there was miscommunication, but this guy tried to reach out for 8 months with no response from the MrBeast team. And now suddenly it became a big topic, and yeah, it got done very quickly. I don't think the public is convinced at all. My voice is gone. Let me know what you guys thought about everything in the comments below. Close this video for another YouTube video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.